Everything is bigger in Texas, and in 2023, the 36th annual Royal Rumble will be no exception. The road to WrestleMania begins with 30 men and 30 women vying for a chance at immortality, a championship opportunity in the main event of WrestleMania. Since its inception in 1988, WWE Hall of Famer Pat Patterson's vision has spurred countless iconic moments.
Undertaker, Becky Lynch, 1 foot, 1 foot, Drew McIntyre's going to WrestleMania
with a tear in my eye. This is the greatest moment in my life. Woo!
We've witnessed a total of 1,250 competitors enter the fray, but only 32 superstars, a staggeringly low 2.5% of participants, have won it all. Of the 32 winners, 19 have gone on to win a world championship at WrestleMania, including the EST of WWE, who's proven herself as the Iron Woman of the Royal Rumble. In 2021, Bianca Belair spent the longest time in a women's Royal Rumble match, 57 minutes, 12 seconds to win it all. In 2006, Rey Mysterio entered at number 2 and lasted a record 62 minutes, 12 seconds to claim victory. Although early entry is an uphill battle, we've witnessed inspired performances from the number 1 spot, including WWE Hall of Famers Shawn Michaels and Edge, who both went bell to bell to come out on top. Entry into the Rumble at a later position significantly increases your odds of being the last one standing. The final 10 entrants have won 78% of the time. Over the years, we've seen some mind-blowing performances.
Kofi! That's the craziest thing I've ever seen!
And there's been no shortage of celebrity sightings.
Bad Bunny's here! Bunnies fly!
And epic returns.
What? It's John Cena! Edge is here! It's been 9 long years!
And this year will be no different, with the return of the American Nightmare.
At the Royal Rumble, I'm back.
The Royal Rumble has been host to legendary performances, but not everyone is ready for the spotlight.
Oh my God, what the heck? What did Titus just, oh my God!
Winning the Royal Rumble once is difficult enough, but only a select few have returned to the mountaintop.
John Cena! Batista! Randy Orton wins the Rumble!
9 superstars have won twice, including Brock Lesnar.
19 years after his first Rumble win, Brock Lesnar repeats.
The Beast Incarnate has conquered the record books, earning the top mark for eliminations in a traditional Royal Rumble. In 2020, Brock Lesnar threw an astounding 13 superstars consecutively over the top rope. When it comes to the most prolific Rumble competitors in history, no one brings the heat like the Big Red Machine. Kane has competed in a record 18 Rumble matches, tallying a record 45 total eliminations. On the women's side, no one has ruled over the competition like Charlotte Flair. In just 4 Royal Rumble appearances, the Queen holds the record with 15 total eliminations. This year's event will mark a record-setting 4th time San Antonio has hosted the Royal Rumble and 3rd time in the Alamo Dome. The first time was in 1997 when the Texas Rattlesnake won his first Rumble match. Stone Cold Steve Austin would go on to set the record for most Royal Rumble victories with 3.
Oh, hell yeah!
This year, WrestleMania goes Hollywood at SoFi Stadium, and the long, arduous journey begins at the Royal Rumble. What records will be broken? What iconic moments await? Whose dream will be fulfilled? Who will punch their ticket to the main event of WrestleMania?
It's time to review the Royal Rumble's gambling odds. We are going to get to what is happening with the Royal Rumble, what is your best bets, what to do, and who's better to do it than Mr. Billy Body. I am along with him right now. I'm Cav Manning from the Lingus Mafia podcast. But Billy, we are on the verge of the Royal Rumble, which is popping on tomorrow now that everything is on Saturdays. And I was curious to talk to you about these kind of things because we have not talked about odds on who's going to win, who might show up. And this is more of the fun show when it comes to gambling because there's a lot of places to go when it comes to the actual Rumble.
Sorry, in what sense?
As in, is there betting odds on surprises of who's going to come out, who's lasting the longest, all that kind of stuff?
No, not. Sometimes there is as it edges closer. There is bets on the Iron Man and the most eliminations and final four. But that's it. Like, there's a market on who will enter the Royal Rumble, but there isn't so much of that this year at the moment. It is still at the point of recording kept to most eliminations, top four. Let me have a look somewhere else as well. I'm going to skate through like various books to see if anybody has taken the steps to sort of expand the market. But last time I checked, which was relatively recently, it was just going through the top four. And hold on, here we go. Other Royal Rumble. No, these are the matches. It's still essentially the same. It's just the top four and most eliminations at the moment. Hold on, there is a match prop thing. Oh, this is a brand new one I've never seen before. One place has added best finishing position, and they pair up two random people and give you odds on who goes further in the Rumble. But they've only got four of these. Cody versus Fiend. Definitely should be Cody. The odds are actually quite close. Zayn versus Solo Sikoa. Sami Zayn versus Solo Sikoa. Braun Strowman and Gunther. And Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. And that's it. They're just four matchups. And it's not determined by time. It's determined by who's there at the end. The eliminations market is led by Solo Sikoa. And the Iron Person is led by Cody Rhodes. We can go through all of those just for interest, but I don't think that will be very widespread, but we can still go through it.
That is a good pick right there. Even just saying Cody being the Iron Man and Solo having the Diesel spot, or is it a Kane spot? I don't know which one. Eliminating people and stuff like that. Yeah, I prefer the Diesel spot myself. I think they make it obvious that Cody will win, so I don't think Cody will win because he's not a surprise either. I think he wins like the Elimination Chamber.
To get what though?
To get night 1 or 2 title. I really think they're going to go the way of Roman has to defend the title on both nights. I think that's a brilliant way to go. That's been in my head like it's a for sure, and it's not even close to a for sure, but I don't know why that's been in my head that's what they're going to do. I think that's just a great idea.
Yeah, it is, but at the same time, it's like he hasn't been making separate title defenses of the belt, but neither were the Usos, and suddenly that changed. So it would require somebody to come onto television and say, hey, you've not been making enough title defenses, or we need 2 belts, or you need to start defending the belt separately because, I don't know. But it would suddenly be a case of someone saying, hey, we're not okay with something we were okay with. Because essentially the unification should mean that these belts are now as one.
Yeah.
And what should happen for a proper unification would be for him not to carry around 2 titles, and for the Usos not to carry around 2 titles, and for there to have been a new championships, all in one kind of thing. So maybe a new belt or whatever. But that never happened. And the longer that didn't happen meant that this was just a storyline to make this group more powerful, as opposed to going in the direction that we were hoping for, which was one champion, one tag champions, even especially like one women's champion, because the tag division has been a lot better like this, because, you know, they go over, they find a challenger on Raw, where you only have like 4 or 5 teams, but it makes sense because you have so few teams. Then you go back over to SmackDown. Raw can focus on maybe creating a new combination or two, so that by the time the Usos get back around there, the teams are strong enough so that you avoid Street Profits versus the Usos, or New Day versus the Usos 6 or 7 times. And even with them programs I mentioned, they feel like we saw them a bit, but it's nowhere as bad as what it could have been like.
I think that's also a way that Roman can get rid of one of the belts. Like if he has to do this a couple times, have him be like, I don't need this one, you know, and put it up for a tournament on the other side. Be like, I've never lost it, but you ain't getting me to work twice, you know, one of those things, and be done with it. But that would be, I mean, if he is going to do this, Mania would be the place to be the first place to do it, you know, and it would be the big surprise, like, Roman's got to do double time. He got both belts. He's got to defend them both. This is nonsense, you know, and put them out there. Otherwise, it's like, well, is he in the Elimination Chamber and he's got to beat everybody to keep that belt? One of them or whatever, or both of them to main event still? That's reaching. And otherwise, what are they going to do for the Elimination Chamber? What is that, to have a U.S. title shot? I mean, it makes no sense. And what would be a main event of night one? Are we going, the women's match is the main event now? Is that what they're going to do? Oh, night one will be all women.
Maybe it's Steve Austin's match.
Now, do you know anything about, is Austin having a match? Because we see him working out online and all that kind of stuff. And they're putting the Iggy in that Rock is not coming and Rock is not doing Mania now. And which makes me think Rock is doing Mania now, and that he shows up at number 29 or 30 or something, you know, and wins that. And that's how he's in, because that's the biggest surprise if he just shows up at the end and wins it. Otherwise, if you have to replace him, I'm fine with having Austin replace him.
Yeah, I mean, it would seem weird that we've got to that situation where Steve Austin is doing a WrestleMania match and he fits into the bloodline story suddenly for a guy who didn't wrestle for years and years and years. And the story that is perfect for Rock doesn't happen, and The Rock doesn't do it. And especially when The Rock doesn't have these health issues and whatnot. And also, from a casual perspective, The Rock is a bigger draw because of the Hollywood thing. And you know, when you commit to WrestleMania goes Hollywood and everything, and going back to that theme, Steve Austin doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. It's one of those instances, and it's very rare, where you're turning around and saying, I love Steve Austin, but I don't want him here. It doesn't make any sense. Is Austin and Roman a great match? Yeah, it is, maybe. Like after you've done the one that you're supposed to do, the one that's been built up for 2.5 years. So I feel that the WWE would have completely squashed it. I don't think that we would be seeing clips of The Rock on the network. Here's the thing. Look, so first of all, let's go a little bit more chronologically and go through these odds. Let me read them out and then explain why I don't think they make much sense to me. So Cody Rhodes is the favorite. He's the clear favorite. If you go across certain books, to bookies, you can get some separation between who the second favorite is and who the third favorite is and whatnot, and different odds. But what you see across the board is that Cody Rhodes is the clear favorite. He's available at 5 to 6, minus 120, which means you got to put on 120 to win 100.
Yeah.
That's shorter than that's slightly shorter than you have for any weekly NFL spread, which is normally minus 110. So this is minus 120. This is like when when you get a 7, the same odds as when you get 7.5 and you want to buy the 7. This is the odds. This is how likely they think Cody's going to win. Then you got Sami Zayn 2-1. He's 2-1 plus 200. The Rock is 5-1 plus 500. Steve Austin is 8-1, who wasn't even anywhere near this in the market till about 3-4 days ago. And then Seth Rollins 14-1, Lashley 20-1, Logan Paul 20-1, Jey Uso 25-1, Brock 28, Kevin Owens 28, and Austin Theory and The Fiend and Finn Balor and Gunther and John Cena and Roman Reigns for some reason and Solo Sikoa, they're all 33-1, and everyone else is like bigger than 40-1. It's not worth talking about. The final 4 market. So here you have Cody at 1-10, where you have to bet $10 to win 1. And Sammy is at 4-6. And here's your sucker bet of the year. The Rock is at even money to finish in the final 4. If he's doing it, he's winning it.
Yeah.
There's no final here for him. Same for Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's at 5-4. These are sucker bets. You don't bet final 4. It's not even a way to protect yourself. You're thinking, oh, if I'll protect myself. What? From what? Like, these guys are not in it to not win it. If they are in it, they're being put in there to go to WrestleMania in the main event. So, and only one of them will do it. I believe that one of these guys will win it. So I would not be looking at their final 4 odds as well. So I think there is value in Steve Austin, but more so on The Rock. And here's why. The Cody Rhodes thing is so obvious that he's been put onto television. They may as well have said, this Sunday, Cody Rhodes wins the Royal Rumble. This is Cody Rhodes like winning comeback, and start fucking. You may as well fucking. We've seen this before. Back in the day, release the fucking DVD cover with Cody on the fucking, and saying, "Watch Cody Rhodes defeat 29 other men in his comeback." Like, you may as well fucking tell us that. That's how obvious it is. This is like Triple H coming back in 2002. When he came back at Madison Square Garden, and then fucking 3 weeks later was the Rumble. It's like, you knew 100% back then.
Do you think that's that he's going to win it then? That's your pick? You think he'll win? I just really think it's... See, no, I always give them a benefit of the doubt.
This is my point. So this is my point, because unless Triple H wants to book something which is parallel to his own win, then no, because I actually think that he wouldn't want to do that, because I believe Vince is more of the philosophy that, well, at least when he was at his best, that it doesn't matter if it's obvious. Sometimes the obvious thing is the best thing to do, because, if it makes sense, do it. And I'm sure I can see Triple H thinking that, but at the same time, I can also see him having this sort of swerve mentality where it's like, okay, we'll put it out. Everybody knows that he can win, but at the same time, we have this guy for 3-4 more years minimum, unless, if he extends his another contract after that, you may even have him for like 9 more years. So there's so many times to pull the trigger. At the moment, Cody doesn't organically fit into any storyline that they're doing, other than the fact he said he wants to win and he win the belt for his dad, and he said, I can't hand it over to my dad. Well, you can't hand it over to your dad now. He's more dead than he was last year. So it doesn't make any difference. He'll never be able to hand it over to his dad. He'll always be able to win it. So he can do this at SummerSlam. He can do this next year's WrestleMania. He can do it anywhere. In fact, maybe even winning and going on to win the title at Philadelphia may be a better crowd for him. He doesn't need to do it in Hollywood. There's nothing that fits here which sees Cody Rhodes winning. And for me, everything means that he's shoehorned into the storyline too quickly. Seth Rollins is someone that makes a lot more sense. Sami Zayn, storyline-wise, makes the most sense in the world. If it wasn't for The Rock being rumored, and so essentially this is one of the things that's wrong with the wrestling community, because the half of the people, such as me, you, and more sort of like normal minded people who like a WrestleMania with a lot of stars, who do believe that, yeah, I don't think it's healthy necessarily that we are massively reliant on talent from the past, but at the same time, I like to see it. I'll still fucking be interested if Undertaker and Bray from Monday's leading to a match. Like, I'm all for it. Like, I know Taker has a lot of weight to lose from what I saw on Monday, but still, like, I'm all for that match happening. I don't care if it's slow or whatever. I'm in it for the story. I'm in it for the passing of the torch. And on every level, The Rock versus Roman Reigns is far bigger than Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns, no matter how good the story is. But there are a group of people like calling for it. I can see how it makes sense. What I don't see how it makes sense is the people turn around and go, I don't want Rock. I want to see Sami Zayn get his moment. Really, that's what you want. Then that is the problem in the wrestling community. These people are the problem because they will accept these lesser things and want these lesser things. There's ways to pay this story off, whether it be on night one or whether it be at the Elimination Chamber, which is actually done in Montreal. If Sami Zayn can have a hot title match in Montreal and lose, they're there. It puts so much more heat on Roman Reigns. And that's Sami Zayn's role in this. If he's going to get his comeuppance, it should be him teaming up with Owens and getting it against the Usos. He's not going to be the champion. As hot as he's getting now, the culmination of that can't be the champion. But like, that's what people are calling for. So I would say that does make a lot more sense. I don't want to see it. I think this is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get The Rock into the hottest storyline, which was built for him. That would be my first choice. And that's the person who, despite, there be no rumors of it, no hints. In fact, rumors to the contrary that says he's actually not doing the show. There was that report saying that he's not ready. That has to be bollocks. How can you not be ready about something you've known for such a long time? I would choose The Rock. And second choice would be Sami Zayn, because both these stories are set up and they work. There's no story for Cody. Third choice would be Rollins, because at least there's a story for him. And even a triple threat match with Rollins and Cody and Roman on night one, that would probably make more sense. But a standalone Cody Rhodes makes no sense. Something more along the lines of Cody Rhodes thinks he's won it, and Seth Rollins, who's already eliminated earlier on, like what happened with Steve Austin that year, eliminates him. And them two then both get title match. That makes a little bit of sense. Sammy winning makes sense. And they beat him up because he won't give up the belt, he won't give up the shot, and then he comes back and and almost wins. And obviously The Rock makes sense as well. No one else in this makes sense. And Cody's in that category of, it doesn't make any sense other than he did say that he's coming back to win it for his dad. So no, I don't think I don't think he's winning it. Well, what do you think?
I don't. I think, you had said just what I was thinking about. I think if it's Vince, it's like we all go, it's too obvious that he's not going to do it, and Vince does it because that's what he does. I think Triple H is more, a different thinker and realizes it's too obvious, I'm not doing it. And like you said, there's plenty of other time to do it. And with him not being a surprise, I just don't think he does it. Them with the whole Rock stuff.
That's another good point. I didn't even mention as a good point. They're airing his videos and then saying he's returning at the Rumble. I think him airing the videos and then he returns at the Rumble is slightly different. Does that make sense? In terms of you air his videos, but you don't mention a Rumble, comes out right at the Rumble. But then to actually say, I'm coming back at the Rumble, that makes a difference.
Yeah. So if it was a surprise, you go, okay, it's a surprise, and look, he won and he wasn't supposed to be here. The same as Triple H, the same as Cena. One of those. They didn't expect him there. Even just showing a video would have put me on to it a little bit. But if the way they're doing it now, no. Them saying Rock's not going, this and that, like I said, always makes me think he will be. But at the same time, we know that The Rock is that phony, smiley, all that, right? So he might not be there. It might be true because he refuses to lose to him. So it could be. We could all be very disappointed by it. But, Rock is the better one to be in this than Austin, just for story and for, not broken down, like you said, and all that kind of stuff. And being in Hollywood, everything lines up like crazy for this. XFL, everything is with this. But God forbid he gets pinned is the weirdest thing in the world that, he'd be crying about. So I really love the Sammy thing.
If you get the Rumble win and you have that, then it's like, all right, I lose, but I won this other thing before. So I don't think it's as bad. Yeah, I was going to ask you, so the Sammy thing, if that happens, if it's like they tell this long story, I would think any other year I would be accepting of this. If this was the main event, if the rumor was, it's going to be Brock and Roman again, but it ends up being Sammy, it's fine. If it's anyone on the roster, if it's building towards, Seth Rollins or Matt Riddle or Drew McIntyre or
somebody who's there,
or whoever it was supposed to be, even if it was someone that wasn't there though, even if it was like Logan Paul or whoever or John Cena, it would still be like, you know what, go with a story. Like you actually told a hot story with it. You got a guy who's on TV all the time over. You got him over like you did with Daniel Bryan by accident, right? Same thing, kind of the same parallels. I'd say that they're similar, but it's just because it comes at the expense of The Rock. The Rock is so big, and a storyline so big, and it's such a culmination of this thing, or not really a culmination, but if Roman's not gonna lose, but it's the thing that you want to happen on this run. This run needs that. So I don't want Sami Zayn to come at the expense of it. If it was anybody else, I'd be like, oh my God, this is so well done. Go with Sammy. That's how I feel.
The aesthetics of looking at them, it's like ridiculous to say, Roman is beating all these people and we'll lose to Sammy. That's the only weird thing about it. However, storyline trumps that for me because they could do this. I mean, it's January to April, and it could be a lot of the storyline could go in where it's now they're kissing Sammy's ass because he's with them, and you're not gonna do this, are you? And trying to chum up to him to not.
Well, this is my question. This is my question to you. It's great in terms of the way it's done.
Yeah.
But if you turn around to you and go, hey, you had The Rock, but you so here's the thing. It's two different things, right? Because I'm trying to ask you two different questions. If you lost The Rock and The Rock's like, no, I can't do it for some reason, whether it be because Vince has got himself in too much bad publicity and he's trying to stay away from it, which I would think would be the main reason he doesn't do it. Fine. Okay. Rock's not doing it. We had to make something else. Then I feel like, okay, if you did the Sammy thing, it's fine. But what if you were told, hold on a second, we actually have made a decision that we know The Rock's down. We know The Rock's down for it, but we've decided that we are going to go with the Sammy thing. And we've told The Rock that feel free to come on. We'd like you to come on and make an appearance. We don't need you to do the match now. We've got something else. How do you feel about that? If they turn around and said, your Rock Roman match is now gone forever. It's been lost forever because we thought something else was hotter. I'm not a fan of that.
The thing is, I don't know that we would know it. I think that kind of a thing would not be said because why would they do that? Maybe in years later you find out.
Shoot interview like
yes, like
5.
Yeah. Then you go, well, it's done with. And you see what they did at least. Because the Sammy thing, for me, goes with them chumming up for fucking how long. And he's got to sit there and he feels like he's got to make a decision. And they're like, you got to show your loyalty. Here's your other. And it's like, how many times do I have to fucking show you? And it keeps getting pushed and pushed. And then eventually it's fuck them and they jump them. And then it turns into a joke like, well, it's not like he's going to fucking beat me anyway, so give me a break. So then it could be the Daniel Bryan style, where if he does beat him, it's because everyone is so hot for him, and Owens is in his corner to, be with him and shit like that. Instead of like we're thinking that it was going to be the tag team match, which I go, well, how you getting there now? Where Jay's like his best friend. At the same time, I don't even want that whole group to stop. I love it so much. It's the only thing worth watching on their shows. But there's a lot of places to go, and I think Triple H is a smart guy when it comes to this kind of stuff, and I think they're well ahead of it, and I think they've got a plan. I think they've been going with this and trying to, do the right thing and how it would evolve into that. That is a long, good story if it is Sammy. It is hard to believe him winning, beating him, just because of his size. But the Daniel Bryan thing, I mean, Bryan's short, but Bryan at least had some, he looked like he was in shape where Sammy doesn't. Yeah, I would, in the long run, I would prefer it be Rock and Roman. If I have to have a choice, I'm going with Rock and Roman because it's more, I don't know what is going to happen, I think. Because we've seen Rock come in and just take the title from Punk after how fucking long. Shit like that, So that's a big deal. That's another bloodline type of thing. It's his relative type of shit. And so you could have a storyline there, but you want the guy to be there often, So I'm kind of like okay with either way it goes.
Yeah, it's a weird one for me. I actually don't feel like we'll see Sami Zayn even enter the Royal Rumble. I don't think they'll run that risk of the crowd, like the Mark type of crowd wanting someone else to win it by having them in there. It's like, oh, we spent all this money and we kept this quiet for so long with The Rock, and now he's in there in the last 4 or whatever, and they're chanting Sammy, Sammy,
but if
Sammy.
Rock's not there, is Sammy in?
Yeah, maybe. But even then, it's like if Sammy's not winning, he shouldn't be in it, because that'll mean there'll be a portion of the crowd who are not cheering for Cody and who are not cheering for Steve Austin, even in Texas, and who are not cheering for The Rock and might be cheering for Sammy, such as what happened to Batista when he made his secret comeback, and they would cheer for Daniel Bryan even after he was eliminated.
And poor Mysterio came out 30.
You're right. So I think the way that you do it is you make it clear he's not going to be in. And I think after Roman Reigns wins the title, with help of Sammy, Roman's not going to be satisfied with that. And they'll put a chair over Owens' neck and they'll ask Sammy to his final test. The final test that they mentioned would be that, okay, so break his neck now. Go and break Owens' neck.
Very good.
Where he won't do it. And then I think they'll lay them both out because he refuses, or he, then hits the chair at them instead, or whatever. Like, I think maybe just flat refuses, and then he gets spiked by Sokoa, and then reluctantly, like the Usos are told, now it's your turn, go up to the top rope, and the last blow is dealt by Jay. There's that final splash, reluctantly, and then he's out. Him and Owens are just smashed, so then he's not in the match, but he can come back and he can lose in Montreal to Roman because of the Usos, and then the Usos and Owens can then go on and have Zayn can have their match with the Usos. That would be how I think it will happen.
That's very good.
As hot as he is, I think he could still get one title match in Montreal, which would be the best place to have it. That way, it's very clear he's not in the Rumble. His storyline is progressed without him being in the Rumble, and even to the point where he could get a title match in his home city, which I don't think is a coincidence entirely that he's on the pay-per-view cover and everything now, which he wasn't before. So yeah, I still believe The Rock will turn up, and I think this will be massively anticlimactic for me if Cody Rhodes ends up winning it, and I don't think it's good booking either.
Okay, let's go on to you want to give the rundown of the rest of the matches, and the I guess we got to go to the women's one too next, which off the top of my head, because someone asked me, they go, Billy got any inside info? And I go, I haven't heard. I'm going to talk to him today, but right off the bat, I'm assuming Rhea wins.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where you're going to.
Yeah, I thought we'd had this conversation before. Obviously, we're not doing that other show now, so yeah, it's hard to keep track of things that I say on there. Like now that news bit I do over there is like cut down to like 5-10 minutes for these guys. And Disco's turned around and said, "Oh, I don't like spoilers." I was like, "Well, what is this segment then? I may as well take it back to Russo, because and do the show there where it fit in a lot better. It fit in a lot better with the audience as well, because this isn't an audience that are waiting for you to be wrong and we're louder when you're wrong and silent when you're right. And when you're right, it's always stuff like, I see the comments. I was looking today because I predicted a while ago Brock and Lashley part 3 and said Brock would cost Lashley the belt on Monday. And it's like, oh, after it happened, it was like, that is so obvious.
I was going to say, did they just say it was obvious?
Yeah, you just can't win with the absolute worst community of anything. Like, I mean, I'm not in other communities. You hear about Star Wars community and sort of comic book community and certain. I knew a girl once who was in Big Brother, the Big Brother After Mine. I was friends with her, and she was in the Hanson community. There was actually, it was just like, she was. I saw her on her Facebook. She's like, "Oh, these fans ruin it for other Hanson fans, us real Hanson fans." Yeah. I was like, Jesus, there's a fucking toxic community for everything. But this is the worst. I mean, there may even be with ourselves a Packers community, a Bears community.
I'm sure
it's not just
is.
a football.
Yeah, I mean, you know how that is. You see these football people that have the stupidest takes in the world. They're like, they did this, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah, I've seen that on my own people. Yes, for sure.
Yeah, there's certainly a Manchester United, a Man United community for soccer. But yeah, so Ripley, something I called a while back.
What's
she's
the
favorite
odds?
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, it's evens. It's 100 to win 100. It's like me betting you. So I say, I'll bet you 10. I'll bet you $10. It's okay. Becky's then fought. It's quite a big gap then to everyone else. And when I picked Rhea, when I found out about Rhea, she wasn't this short of a favorite. And this is the other thing. Like, me for a long time with the Rumble. By this point, I can just tell you who's going to win, usually.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been able to do this with the women's side. I know there was the debate about Becky and Rhea, who essentially lead the market anyway, which makes sense. But on the men's side, there hasn't been anything at all where it's like, oh, it's this person, it's that person, or whatever. So it's got that feeling of nobody knows anything, so it must be what we think, because The Rock's not been mentioned on TV. They didn't even, it feels like announcing a Samoan a ceremony or whatever it was at the weekend, a tribal family appreciation thing or whatever it was, almost seemed like you cancelled it because it was like, not because The Rock wasn't there, but it's like, oh, if we do this and then we plant a seed for The Rock, the surprise is not as big on Sunday. Let's just keep the surprise as big as possible almost. I mean, maybe I'm setting myself up for a letdown, but I almost feel like, because I don't know and because no one said to me, it's The Rock, it feels like the people that even I know have been kept out of the loop because they want to fly him in on a private jet and keep him in his hotel, and they want to bring him in a limo an hour and a half into the show, sneak him in, and then have a meeting with the last 15 guys, or even the last 8 in the Rumble, and say, hey, you guys are the last 8.
Mm-hmm.
We're letting you know that The Rock's coming in at 29 or 30 or whatever, and he's gonna win. So everything that you've been told is not happening. So I don't know. It almost feels a little bit like that, because the fact that no one knows, no one's turned around to me and said, "Oh yeah, it's Cody, it's Sammy, whatever." But this one, yeah, they did a couple of weeks ago. Becky or Rhea. So Becky second 4-1, Raquel Rodriguez 9-1, Bailey 12-1, Naomi 12-1. Oscar 14-1, Shayna Baszler 16-1, Charlotte 18-1. Everyone else is bigger than that. Everyone else is bigger than 25-1, including Ronda Rousey. So, yeah,
the one I always heard, I heard, and I was like, please no. And it was always Naomi comes in and she wins the whole thing, and I'm like, oh fuck, who cares? You know, I didn't want that.
Well, that's a good example to people. I walked out because my friend walked out because she's a little bitch, and I decided that I was going to start behaving like her. Even though I've always been mostly a professional, my first unprofessional act of my contract results in me receiving a huge push. So that's a good example.
Yeah, I'm like, she's always been like the jobber girl, finally gets something and they give her a title belt, and it's like, oh, now I'm gonna ruin it because this fucking prima donna needs to do something. And then the Bellas have to revolt because God forbid they weren't mentioning them and Paige. Fucking morons. I hope they get banned now. I hope they never speak of them. What about
well, that show she's doing,
yep.
With her husband, where she proposed to him, is WWE owned shows. It's the same as like Total Bellas.
Really? And with Brian in it. I saw she's the producer. I did a review of it yesterday, which apparently it's on the free feed on Lingus Mafia. Go have a listen. It's the Duchess and Cav review this. And that's my favorite show to review because I just go after them. Yeah, it's funny because Brian was in there, and it's even better because they can't mention Cena. They mention him, but they can't say his name. It's the greatest. So he has a thing where they're not allowed to talk about him. What do you have for the other odds in the other matches? What other matches besides the Bray Wyatt one is there?
Well, there's the title match, which between Roman and Owens. But here's a bet I just found. So check this out. At one place you can bet Cody Rhodes versus the whole field. So you get Cody Rhodes. Yeah, you get Cody Rhodes at this place as the 8-13 favorite, and the field is at 6-5. So to explain that, for Cody Rhodes, you need to bet. So if you, how do I explain this? If you bet $100 on Cody Rhodes, you only end up with 161. So $61 profit, right? If you bet the field, you get 120 profit. You get 220 back. The field is at 6-5.
Jump on that one.
That looks like a field bet. But yeah, so Roman Reigns to win his title match is the 1-7 favorite. So you need to bet 700 to win 100.
Jesus.
So he's a clear favorite, and it is similar odds across the board. Bianca is 1-6, whilst Alexa Bliss is 4-1. So it does look like those matches are quite clear cut. I wouldn't. The odds are wide, but I can't make any case really for those odds being incorrect. The pitch black match, Bray Wyatt is 1-3, and LA Knight is 5-2. So Bray Wyatt is the shortest favorite, but I think across the board, Bray, Roman, and Bianca all equally likely, unless we see something, where Uncle Howdy cost Bray the match, and that's the direction you're going in for WrestleMania, where he has to, fight against his own uncle who's haunting him and whatnot. I don't know. Well, I don't know where they're going with this, but
yeah, I mean, Bo Dallas, he's having his match with him. It's interesting. I thought for a minute, Alexa might have this chance to win this title. just because she's going in that direction of being, nuts and all that kind of shit, and getting help from Howdy and stuff. But I'm like, is she gonna go back into wearing these stupid outfits and with the black makeup? And oh my God, I hope not. I do hope not. I assume we're getting Charlotte and Bianca almost. It's like they put them there to do something. I was like, maybe this is a unification too down the road that they're doing. But
It's odd because you've got so many women going. It's hard to even guess what the matches are this WrestleMania, and then to unify now would leave Ronda and Rhea and Becky and Bailey to a lesser extent on the sideline. I feel that it has to be some combination of those people. So whether you do Charlotte and not Charlotte, whether you do Ronda and Becky, you do it, despite rumors saying you're not doing it. For me, it's still the biggest match for the women. And then the other one, I think Rhea and Bianca looks like it was hinted at a while ago when she was face to face with her backstage. That seemed like some sort of seed. And now throughout the show, I'm like looking and seeing what seeds that we had between, October and now, because Triple H seems like a booker who might have dropped seeds. I almost expected Rhea and Bianca to be at the Rumble as a match because I thought it might have been a seed for that, but it looks like it's a seed for WrestleMania, unless it's completely been canned. You could easily do a Rhea Ripley Charlotte rematch, because she never got over losing to her before, and Charlotte picked Rhea when she was 36.
Yeah, but 2020, that the debacle.
Oh, you do. Yeah. She never got over. Charlotte picked her and beat her, so she picks Charlotte and beats her. Could do that. Charlotte versus Rhea makes sense, but then Bianca's beating everybody on her side. You cannot go back to Bianca and Becky. You can't really do Bailey. You can't do Bailey and Bianca again. It's boring. Ronda Rousey and Bianca, I guess you could do. Then you have Rousey winning the Rumble again and going over to Raw. That match, something about that match doesn't really work for me. Bianca and Ronda doesn't. I don't know. I could see it, but if Ronda wins the Rumble, why would she not choose Charlotte, who beat her? And why does Ronda need to win the Rumble? Why does she need to win the Rumble to face Charlotte when she hasn't had any rematch or anything? She lost what was essentially a Money in the Bank cash-in kind of thing without her having any cash-in. So she's entitled to a rematch anyway. I don't actually know where Ronda is. Makes me feel like that she's asked for time off for a personal reason, like with a kid or some kid issue or something like that. Maybe she got pregnant again. She's not going to come back.
Yeah, I was thinking she wasn't going to be in the Rumble, and because it's just
no. I don't think so.
Yeah. I was funny. I was thinking about today with the double belts and all this stuff, and I was saying, they should unify that thing and then have an intercontinental title for the women. And then all these like lesser people could actually be getting titles and doing something with them. And they don't have to be, because it's like certain people you go, well, they're never going to, beat Bianca and all this kind of stuff, and then it's like Liv would be perfect for an intercontinental woman's,
It does give more people a chance to have a cup of coffee with a belt.
Exactly. So you would have the big one, the big belt, and then you would, have that lesser one. So you can move around and do some stuff. I mean, they got the tag belts. So even though I almost just asked who has them. That's how spacey I am about those belts. I'm like, where were they? Oh yeah. What else? Is that it for the matches then?
Yeah, I mean, we have a few more, like, we have bets on Final Four, most eliminations, Iron Man, things of that nature. But yeah, I mean, I'll be putting picks out on that kind of stuff. So I don't really, need to get into my takes for those things here, unless you want to give yours. For most eliminations, at one place, Solo Sikoa was the favorite. Another place I'm looking at Gunther's a favorite. Well, if you think it's a good one, don't take him as a favorite. Take him as the second favorite at this other place, where he's 2-1. He was a 6-4 favorite at one place. He's 2-1 favorite. He's 2-1 second favorite at this place, who have Gunther as a favorite at 6-4 instead. But them two in either order are the two favorites to have the most eliminations. After that, you have Bobby, Cody, Brock again. I mean, Brock's always worth looking at. I know he's done it before.
You think Brock's showing up in this Rumble?
Yeah, him and Lashley are costing each other a Rumble. The Iron Man. So in this place, I'm looking at one place you had Cody as a clear favorite. And this place you have Rollins as the favorite and Cody as the second favorite. So it's only close though. The other place had Cody as the. It's weird. They got Cody here as the second favorite, but it's the same odds. So it's even money, and he was even money to be the Iron Man as a favorite here. He's even money as a second favorite. You have Rollins slightly ahead at 10-11 minus 110. But then after those two, it's a huge gap down to everybody else. Solo Sikoa 5-2. Gunther 10-3, Drew McIntyre 4-1. So it's all over the place. One thing that's interesting about the way this bookie has laid things out is that they had an order which things are written down on, and now suddenly they have odds from different places. So, for example, it's normally written in the order that the odds are. Mm-hmm. Well, they've got this that the odds were when they first put the market out, and now, for example, the favorite is Seth Rollins. He's started as the second favorite, so you can see how the market has been has changed by people's bets. Finn Balor's no longer the favorite because nobody's put any money on him. Seth Rollins is now the favorite, but he's listed as the second in the order of what it was when it was first put out. So it's interesting to sort of have that record there to see how the odds were before people started to bet it.
Very interesting. Well, we will find out tomorrow who is winning all these different things, and Billy will be posting out his odds and what he is going to be betting on. I know everybody always asks me, what does Billy know? Has Billy said anything? Because they're able to gamble too. So I direct them towards.
Is that what they do for the Rumble?
Yeah, I got a message today about it. And it's
interesting.
Do you have any information about Billy? And I said, I'm talking to him later today. I'll find out.
Yeah, well, my Rumble picks will be released on the dirtysheets.com if you don't want to get all betting picks. But all my betting picks always go out through lockbetting.com, 115 months in a row of transparent track profit. Everything in there is tracked. If you look at the spreadsheet at lockbetting.com, it's the pin tweet, so you can always see it's up there every month. It's totally transparent. At the moment, you see the month of December. You can see the members' comments verifying everything. So over on lockbetting.com, all sports is included. If you're just out to bet wrestling, there is a combat pack, which also gives you MMA as well, over on the dirtysheets.com. So you can go either way. I have a lot more information, hopefully, by Saturday. If it's not there about the men's match, I won't just take a guess. I'll try and find out other things about most eliminations, Iron Man, etc. Obviously, my bet for the Women's Royal Rumble has already gone out when Rhea Ripley was at better odds. So yeah, to get everything, to get all sports, to get picks on the NFL this weekend as well, head over to lockbetting.com. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I would want to say about this, but no, not really. I think that's fairly complete.
All right. Check out all my stuff anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in Lingus Mafia and you will see the Wrestlingus show on there and my patreon.com/Lingus Mafia. We give you multiple reviews of wrestling for the low tier of $5. If you want to watch video, it's higher and you get everything on the show. That's it. Also, follow at Lingus Mafia. Everything is that on Twitter, on TikTok, yada, yada, yada. So I'm Cav. He's Billy. We'll see you next time.
You fucking mark!